So I have two vacuums here, the Shark and the Roomba. We're gonna test out their capabilities on some hardwood floors with the protein powder and crushed chips at the back. Look at that, very good. So as you can see, the Roomba did an amazing job. Even in the cracks right here, there's really nothing inside the cracks, which a lot of the protein powders that I really would get in here. Last time I tested the Roomba, I had a little bit of in the crack, but this time it completely sucked it up. So maybe it's just down to the level of suction. It can really seal with the hardwood floors in certain areas. But with the chips, basically got everything as well here too. So now we're gonna see how the Shark does. There it goes, as you can see. Very good. So as you can see, it did pretty well. I think these are the track marks. So this is the overall where the actual suction is. This is more for just dragging along the kind of pedals with its wheels. But in terms of the suction here, as you can see, the nooks and crannies, there is a little bit in here, but not too much. It is basically almost the same amount as the Roomba did leave in the cracks. But obviously overall the surface, there's basically nothing here. In terms of the chips up here too, it got most, if not every single chip in its path. So I would say these are about equal right now in terms of hardwood floor cleaning. It's up, and as you can see, it got most, if not all, the protein powder. It still has a little bit left, as you can see right in the middle right here, but most of it did get cleaned up. In terms of the chips too, every single one of the chips got cleaned up basically. There are some at the very edge right there it didn't quite get, but in terms of what I would expect of both vacuums, this is definitely above average. So we'll see how the Shark does. It's coming in at that angle, doing the 2-pass. As you can see, it did a decent enough job. Same with the chips as well. It's getting quite a bit of them. As you can see, basically it got all of the chips. It decided to do a pattern of the S type, and it got basically all the chips except the one little piece right here and one other piece around there. I think it didn't get enough time to get all the way up in there, but I stopped it right before, but all the chips are gone. But unfortunately, there are still some protein powder left in here. As you can see, there are some kind of streaks of protein powder here. I can definitely see and feel them. So in terms of the protein powder, I think the Roomba definitely did a better job in cleaning the protein powder. But in terms of the chips, I think the kind of Shark did a little bit better job in cleaning the chips. So it's a little bit even on that front. Next, we will do the noise and detection test, the noise of the vacuum, and also how well it detects the walls and objects around it. That's about how loud it is from like maybe 1 feet. It didn't hit the wall. Got real close, but it did not hit the wall. So I think this detection is pretty damn great. That's because the AI detection is on the top right here, whereas the AI detection on the Roomba is on the front. So let's see how this one does. That's about the noise level with being 1 feet away from it, the same distance. It is a lot more quiet on the carpet, as you can see. And for my test, the AI detection works sometimes, but not all the time, which the Shark one works basically all the time. So I think in that category, the detection definitely goes to the Shark and is much better than that. But in terms of the sound level, I think this one's a little bit quieter on the carpet. So as you can hear, it is a little bit louder on the hardwood floor. And I think the Roomba is a little bit louder on the hardwood floor compared to the Shark. The Shark one has more of an air noise, where this one has more of a mechanical noise. So you hear this a little bit less. And now is a good time to see the edge detection on both. As you can see, both of them have pretty good detection when it comes to cliff, because they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 detections on this Roomba, whereas on the Shark it has 1, 2, 3, 4 detections for the cliff detection. So let's see which one does better. I'm gonna start them both on the ledge right here. Oh, this one, yeah, the Roomba does not want to go towards the edge. As you can see, it avoids the edge as well. See multiple times happening. So now we go over the parts for each of these two. The wheel's about the same size, the same kind of resistance. The charging is at the front of the robot right here. The charging is at the back. You notice the charging part is a lot bigger on the Shark versus the Roomba. So this way it's going to be less likely for this to fall out in place and not be exactly aligned. So this one, sometimes it might be not exactly aligned, so it doesn't charge. So this one is a big advantage for the bigger charging port. In terms of the capacity, it is right here. Pull this tube, as you can see, you come on out, you kind of lift this tube right in here, lift it open, and this is where you see all of the kind of dust. This is the air filter. That is about the capacity you should be expect. On the shark right here, there's a button on the side. You press, kind of pops on out. There's another button you press on here, and it comes out there. In terms of the capacity, I would say the shark maybe has a little bit bigger capacity. And also there's an air filter here where you can remove it if you want to replace it. There's also an air filter in the shark right here. This filter is a lot bigger, as you can see. In terms of the suction port, as you can see, this one's a little bit wider than this one, maybe like a 10% wider, but it's not too big. These have kind of opposing bristles too, not bristles, but like rubber suction pads, whereas this one actually has bristles, as you can see here. So that's why this one does a little bit better for the kind of harder to pick up the chips and stuff. It has another bristle right here where it does not have one here. It also has a little more bristles to kind of guide the things into the area right here. As I have mentioned before, the detection camera is up here while the detection camera is down here. So this one has a little bit of advantage. Also, this has a clean and dock function, which this only has the one circle. You cannot return to the dock by pressing onto this. This is only to go start function. So I think the Shark has a little bit better capabilities and a little bit better parts. So now I'll be comparing the docks of the two. This one's a lot more simple. These are the two kind of charging ports right up in here. These have a little bit grippers, so when you the wheels come up right here, the wheels kind of dock into here, so they're never going to be misplaced and never going to be not charging. So the wheel holder here is very nice. This is where the kind of vacuum is being sucked out the dust, and it goes into there. As you can see from the side profile, it is slightly angled, so that when the vacuum comes all the way up, it's going to be angled a little bit more this way. So what that does is going to allow the dust to fall towards the back of the vacuum, which allows this to suck it up better. Whereas for this vacuum, this is the two charging ports. It doesn't have a ramp right here, but because this thing gets sucked out right here, it doesn't really need the vacuum to be elevated in certain angles. It just backs on up here. This one, I do really like this because it creates a little bit better seal for the thing to be sucked out. I find that the emptying is a little bit better on here versus on this one. In terms of this capacity, the situation in here, this is a rubber kind of strap, so this is very nice. You open this up, and this is the situation inside here. You pull this tab, this is where the kind of dust is coming into. This is the bag, that is the hole, the traditional vacuum bag. That is what's happening inside. That is the hole where the dust comes into. And this one is just like an extra bag holder. It doesn't really do anything here. And that's about it. And in terms of the Shark, so you press this button, this thing comes on out. And in terms of the capacity, there's quite a big capacity. The hole where it gets sucked up is right there. You click on the button on the side. As you can see, there's quite a bit of capacity down here. The really neat and nice feature that I do like is that in the front, you can see how full the thing is. So when you know when you need to change this thing, whereas you, versus other vacuums where in this one, you're just kind of blindly guessing. You slide that back, and the big advantage is there's no bags. So this one, you have to buy new bags to eventually kind of replace. This one, there's a bagless feature. You don't have to buy new bags. You don't have to worry about if you have any left to buy new ones. It's just a dock, which I think it is a much more intelligent design. But that is not all. This has a lot more features. You come up in here, you open this. Right in here, you can see there is a filter. As you can see, it is being used up already. There is another filter down in here, secondary filter. Onto the side right here, you press this down, there is another filter right in here. And that's it, 2 extra filters on here. I'm sure there are filters on the Roomba, I'm not really sure, I can't really get to them. But it seems like the filtration system is a lot better on this one. Not to mention a small thing back here, there's an organizer, but also this has an on-off button. Which a Roomba, it does not have an on-off button, but the organizer is a lot bigger and is a lot more useful than the one on the Shark, so that is a big plus. So now I'm going to show off the kind of noise level it makes when it's emptying the vacuum and also how well it empties the vacuum. So that's about the noise level you should expect. We're seeing the dust kind of empty through here. It takes around maybe like 20 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna open this up to see how well it cleaned up. Open this bad boy up and see how well it kind of got the dust out here. As you can see, there's a little bit of here. This is a difficult spot for it to really get because the kind of vacuum is going through that way. But overall, this thing is pretty good. I would say overall, most of the dust has been taken care of. Here, I'm gonna start it now. So This is about how loud you should expect. It is quite loud. I don't know if you can hear me. That was quite loud. The advantage is that because this is the base, you can put it off into another room and not have to worry about it. But I gotta say, it has probably doubled the noise level of the Shark. But the advantage is because it is loud, it is more powerful. So it is half the time as the Shark. The Shark took maybe around 20 seconds. This took around maybe 10 seconds. And as you can see, there is still quite a bit of dust in here, quite a bit of protein powder from the last experiment we did. But because I think the bin was basically all the way caked up, all the way back up here. This thing was super full. So maybe that's why I didn't get everything out of here. It was just so caked up. It was hard to get everything out in that amount of time. So maybe if it sucked up a little bit longer, it would get everything out. But I gotta give the point to the Shark. The Shark got a much better clean out of the dock, and also it was quieter. Even though it took longer, when you're at the base, you don't really care about that. So I gotta give the point to the Shark. It did beat out the Roomba in terms of the suction, in terms of the cleaning of the dock.